My experience was of being killed in a tractor accident when I was 15 years old and becoming a spirit, standing next to my uncle as he kept driving the tractor, not knowing I was pulled into the wheel and axle of the farm tractor. He was driving while watching the potato rows so as not to run over them. When I heard a voice on my left side call out his name, he stopped the tractor and got off to go around looking at the sprayers, and the whole time I am just watching him. Next thing I know he is calling out my name, then discovering my body wrapped up around the axle. From there I have blackout moments of him carrying my body and me watching, then merging into the body and talking to him as he is carrying my body out of the potato field, then to the truck and to the hospital. And then I woke up in a room in the hospital to hear the doctor saying it's a miracle I am alive, but they have to amputate my leg. I really woke up then and felt for my leg and told the doctor there is no way he is going to take my leg. They didn't. They said I would be dead by now, and I am 4 years past my due date of dying, so live until death kills me. Again, the second time I died was truly an amazing experience. I was burned to death in a gasoline fire, and there was a nurse there the whole time trying to save my life, and ended up calling out to God to bring me to heaven, and he did, and I felt my spirit leave the body and go through the ceiling and up into space. At first, it was dark and silent, and I felt like a balloon floating upwards. I was excited. I didn't feel the pain of being skinned alive and cooked to death at the same time. Then all of a sudden I heard voices, a lot of them at first. They were crying and I got concerned wondering who they were and why are they crying and why am I hearing it. Then I noticed I was still flying upwards and that the voices were getting fainter and fewer. The further I got the less I could hear. Then came one voice that clearly said, "I love you." Then it went silent. At first, I could feel myself turn to my left as if I was leaning my head back toward where I heard the voice coming from. But then I remembered the pain I felt and I turned back forward and away from the earth. It was still nothing but darkness as I traveled away from the earth. I can think and feel comfortable and I wasn't worried about the fact that everything was just dark and peaceful. All of a sudden I see a speck of light, then as if I blinked I see a wall of starlight, then I am in them. I feel as if I have stopped. Just floating in space I feel as if I have a smile from ear to ear, and I looked around and saw all the stars around me, and I think, I don't need air, water, hot or cold. I am in space and I am at peace, and the serenity of being there was truly heavenly. The next thing I know I notice a star getting bigger and brighter than all the others, and I desired it to be the star of my next life. I was getting even more excited to see and be a part of it, and it was getting bigger and brighter even faster, and I wondered is it me moving towards it or it towards me. So I looked around to see the other stars were a blur, and I knew it was me moving towards the star to be the star to my next life. And I got even more excited when all of a sudden I feel someone come up from behind me, placing his hands under my arms and picking me up, and I felt to be a child of 2 or 3, and I giggled and laughed like air pockets in a plane, or the sudden drop of a roller coaster ride. I giggled and laughed as I felt being pulled away from the start of my next life. I could feel myself being drawn in and carried like a baby in our Father's arms, and I was at comfort and at peace, and I went right to sleep. When I woke up I could see my lower half of me was a ghost, and I was merging into a body. I thought I was coming to life in physical heaven, and I was excited to be a part of it, and as my ghost was completing into the body, I could feel myself take a deep breath to start my life. And I sat up and looked around and saw I was all alone, and I wondered where all the other angels were. I got off the bed and went looking for them, and when I found them they screamed and shouted at me that I was a ghost and to get away, so I walked outside and saw it was night outside and saw the shadows of the trees and looked up and saw the stars in the night sky and remembered being there, and I looked back down, wondering what is this place where I am. Then this guy came walking up to me saying I was dead a long time and that the ambulance was on its way to take my body to the morgue. He kept asking me what it was like to be dead so long. I then asked him if this was heaven, and he said no and started to really get excited to want to know what heaven was like, and I got more worried to want to know what is this place and why it wasn't heaven. Then all of a sudden my girlfriend at the time came out and told me to come on, we are going to the hospital. I was afraid I would go back into shock before the ambulance was going to get there, so she drove me to go meet the ambulance, and we ended up in the hospital. They wanted to skin graft my body, but I wouldn't let them and asked how I could heal on my own, and aloe and burn bandages were my best friends for 2 years, and I don't have any scars, and I was covered in burns from head to ankles. It's been 21 years and now I have nothing but memories of that night. I was 27 years old at the time. About a year later I started to get woke up in the middle of the night and write large bold letters on large paper, then send them off to senators, lawyers, and others. I couldn't understand why the strong desire to share pieces of paper that just talked about world peace. It ended up being a couple hundred of them. Put it this way. It cost me my marriage and my business too. The writing stopped for a while, but here lately they have been picking back up again. I am now 49 years old.